Welcome back to Overexposed, where today we're going to talk about another new film stock. And I guess the question is this one we should get excited about, or is it just another one to buy when it goes on sale?
Nothing escapes Agfa film. Agfa captures the sharpest, brightest, most vibrant color pictures we've ever had, and only film to offer high-definition color. Nothing escapes Agfa film.
So the film stock that we're going to talk about today is a new film stock that's been making the rounds on the internet. It's Agfa Color 400. And I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, Agfa Color, that's been around forever. Well, it actually hasn't been, at least for the last few years. Of course, Agfa made film for a long time. Agfa is a historic German filmmaking company. They got their beginnings way back when in the 1800s when they started manufacturing aniline colors. And they eventually branched out into making photography products and eventually color film. Agfa Color New being the competitor to Kodachrome, and they went from there. And if you want to hear more about Agfa, I made a whole video recently called The History of Film Photography, so check that out. I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance for the pronunciation of some of these words. Agfa actually owns the name to all these companies, and they license those names to Agfa Photo Holding. And I know this isn't complicated at all, but Agfa Photo Holding then sub-licenses it to other folks. It's one of those things that we see more and more in the photographic film industry where you've got these historic companies, film photography died, their names still maybe have some nostalgic value, and companies that now hold those names, Polaroid for example, now they use those names in other capacities. And so let's take a look at this new Agfa Color 400 and see what we can gather from it. So first and foremost, we can see that it's Agfa Color 400. It's a 400 speed film. And if we look at the box, we can actually see that it's fresh dated, expiring in October of 2026. And because everything from Fuji and everything from Kodak that's out now is also expiring in 26, this is all fresh dated stuff. So whatever they're getting, whoever they're getting it from, it's freshly manufactured. I'm already alluding to the fact that Agfa has nothing to do with making this, but we'll talk more about that in a second. For whatever reason, this roll is a 24 exposure roll. I don't know if there will be subsequent 36 exposure rolls out there in the future, but at least for now, this is a 24 exposure roll. But the most important thing to note on the box, as you can see it in the bottom right-hand corner of the photo, is that this film stock is made in Germany. If we scratch our heads and look on the internet for just a minute, you can see that there's really only one place manufacturing film. And I say really only manufacturing, I mean there's one person manufacturing the film, and it's a Novuscoat. And Novuscoat is the only company left in Germany that's manufacturing film at all. And while you may not be familiar with the name Novuscoat specifically, you may be familiar with some of the film stocks that they've manufactured. It's commonly speculated on the internet that they're actually the manufacturers of the lomography film stocks. Lomography Metropolis, for example, and it's got some characteristics that will probably pop up again, namely its signature green hue and the green film base that you're going to see it on. It's also pretty widely known that they make the Wolfen film stocks and the Orwo film stocks. So in Novuscoat, they've got their fingers all over the film photography market. So they're one of these companies like Ilford or Kodak these days. They make film stocks for other folks and they sell it under their own name. And here's a picture of the new Agfa Color 400, and you can see its film base. And you can see it does have that notable green color to it. And let's take a look at some other film stocks out there, and you can see that these also have that same green film backing. So kind of suspicious. And you take that along with the Made in Germany mark on the bottom of the box, and you start to put together a pretty compelling case that this new film stock from Agfa Photo is actually probably made by Novuscoat. And while I've not been able to find any sample photos online of folks using this new film stock yet, here are some samples of Orwo 400. This is the film stock that folks think mostly closely aligns with this, and perhaps maybe there's some subtle deviations like Kodak Gold 200 and the new Fuji Color 200, very minor changes between the two, but you're essentially going to be getting the same thing. And I think that's probably the best estimate of what this is going to look like. And honestly, looking at the image samples, I do think they provide a pretty unique, different look. The film stock obviously doesn't look anything like what comes from Kodak or Ilford, who makes only black and white stuff, or Harman. They've got their own unique color palette as well. We are lucky to have Innovus at all, another company out there still manufacturing film. And hopefully down the road, if this licensing company maintains interest, maybe we do get some unique formulations by Innovus. But that remains to be seen. So what do we make of the release of this new film stock? Well, unfortunately, it's just another company trying to capitalize on some of the warm, fuzzy nostalgia that folks have for some of these film photography companies that have long since passed their prime. This new film stock is primarily just a cash grab. The holding company that owns the name of Agfa, they've taken a look at the film photography market and saw, hey, there's a little bit of demand for film now. Maybe we can actually get some value out of this mark that we own. But we can only hope that this just means more film will be on the shelves of our local retailers and on online shops, and keep us one step ahead of everything going on back order like it did just a couple of years ago. So I think that's a good thing ultimately. But let me know in the comments what you think about another company using a historic film photography company name and slapping it on a box of film. And I talked a little bit about this at the start of the video. If you thought this discussion of Agfa Photo and a little bit of their history was cool, take a look at my history of film photography video before you go. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, guys. Let's go.
For things you'll only see once in a lifetime. The waterproof disposable camera from Agfa.